Building an indie business in the center of venture capital. I am Alex Edmonds, and this is the Building an Indie Business podcast. Okay, hello to all my listeners in France. So this week, I'm going to be talking about making videos to promote your podcast. I'm going to be talking about the goals that I have when I make a video for my podcast. I'm going to be talking about the types of content you can create. I'm going to be discussing how you can make videos. I'm going to be talking about the benefits, the problems that I've run into. Okay, so let's get into it. The goal that I have when I make videos for the podcast is to grow my audience. I want to be on more content creation platforms so that more people know me and my work, and then they discover my work and join or use my products and join my community. Okay. The next goal I have for creating videos is to convert the video viewers into listeners and into members of the open podcast community. Okay, so how to create videos for your podcast. Okay, so what kind of content can you create for your audience? So what you can do is you can create videos based on the subject of your podcast. So what I do is I create videos based on podcasting. I've created a video how to submit your podcast to Apple, how to submit your podcast to Spotify, how to submit your how to set up a podcast, create it, and then so I take someone from like recording a podcast all the way to publishing the episode on a podcast host. So, for example, let's say your podcast is about music, and music production. What you can do is you can go through the basics of how to create, how to produce one song, and then what you can do is go through a video of how to submit that song to Spotify or to iTunes. Pretty much what I did, but for music. Okay. Let's say your content is based on web development. You can show people how to set up a web development environment. So you can show people how to download Node, what editor to use, how to create an HTML page, things like that. Okay, so how did I find out how to create videos? Okay, so what I did is I found a couple websites that shows what the most Googled things are for certain topics. So I typed in podcasting, and then I saw like how to upload a podcast to Spotify, and then I created a video doing that. And that way, when people Google that, my video will show up, hopefully. Okay. The next thing that I did to create my video account, my video platform account, I filled out the description, I added tags, and I filled out my profile. So I filled out the description of every video with links that I want people to go to. So the very first two links are a link to the podcast, because I want people to listen to the podcast. Next, I have a link to the Open Podcast Forum. Those are the two most important things that I want people to do from the videos. And so those are the first two links that they will see when they look at the description. Next, I added tags. And so what the tags are is they're tags about podcasting, like podcast, podcasting, Potter and Family, Spotify, Apple, and that way when people search those things, my videos will pop up. And that way people that want to see that content will see my videos, and maybe they're interested in joining a community and they join Open Podcast. Great. And then I fill out the profile. So my profile has a set of links that I want people to go to. So I set that up. I made sure to have a profile picture, a profile banner, and then I'm able to set up what videos that I want them to see. So I do the most common videos. I do the Apple video, I do the Spotify video, I do the create podcast video, things like that. Okay. Another thing I do to have videos and for video creation is I take the audio files for BAIB, and then I turn them into video files and I upload them to my video host. And so that way, if people are interested in my podcast, they can directly listen to it on the video platform. Okay, so how do I create these videos? I use screen recording software to record my screen, and then I plug in the microphone that I use for podcasting, and then I walk people through how to create a podcast or how to record a podcast. Okay. The next thing I do is I organize the videos into a playlist. So that way, the playlist is called How to Start a Podcast. And that way, if people look that up on the video platform, my playlist will pop up, and that way they can see my multiple videos at once, and that will maybe get me more views. Okay. The next thing I do is I share my videos with my current audience. And the reason why I do this is to get those first initial views so that my videos, the algorithm on the video platform will think my videos are popular, and they'll show me in the search results, and I'll get more views from that. Okay. And finally, the last thing I do is I put keywords in the titles, so that way people will search those keywords and my videos will pop up. So I just don't do how to upload a podcast. I do how to upload a podcast to Apple iTunes, and that way I'd get better results or more views. Okay. Now the benefits of creating videos. The first benefit is you can use your videos as a lead magnet, which is what I do. So that playlist that I have, I use it as a lead magnet for Open Podcast, and actually my the podcast BAIB, that email list. So I say get a private playlist when you sign up for the email list, and so in the welcome email I send them the private playlist. Okay. SEO. So when you create videos, people search for it, right? Those topics, and your videos will pop up, and that way people, your content or the things on your description will get higher in the search results when people search for those things as well. Okay. Organic search. When you create videos based on things people are searching for, they will get in the show, not in the show notes, they will be in the search results, and people will click on those videos, and you will get more clicks and more views on your stuff. Okay, bigger audience. One video platform is the second biggest search engine, and so having content on that platform is a bigger audience than podcasting, because there are more videos on that platform than there are podcasts, and so that gets you more views, or more potential views, more potential people watching your videos. Okay, indexing. So because the video platform is owned by the biggest search engine, the search engine indexes those videos in the search engine, and your videos get indexed, and then when people search for those things, they'll come up even in the show, or in the search results. They don't have to work to find those videos elsewhere. Okay. Detailed analytics. So when you create a video, you get a lot more details in the analytics. You'll get how people found your podcast, what they searched for, or how people found your videos, not podcasts. You'll get when they started and when they stopped, when they dropped off, how they looked at it, what videos they watched after and what connected them to that video. Like if they watched a video before that, what video they watched after that, which I think is really great. Okay. Exclusive content. Okay. So when you have your audience for the podcast and for your videos, you can create exclusive content for the video people, and that way it'll help you figure out what your podcast audience likes, and if your video people like that content, you could share it with the podcast people, and then you have like an audience for your videos already, and you can keep it away from your podcast until people like it. People like it. Okay, similar setup to podcasting. So the video setup and the podcasting content, or how to make a podcast and how to make a video, that setup is very similar. So I use the same mic, I use the same software. So yeah, there's not much difference between videos and podcasting, especially when you're doing tutorials. When you're doing like videos with a camera, it's a little bit different. Okay. Doing videos, you can be more experimental. So you can experiment with the title, you can experiment with the content, because this is not your main audience. So for the podcast, for the podcast monetization episode, I changed the name of that title in my videos, so that way I can see if changing the titles will help me get more views. So in the podcast, it's podcast monetization. For the videos, it's how to make money with a podcast, and I wanted to see if that would get me more views. Okay. Other content creators can see my work and join Open Podcast. So there are many people that podcast on video platforms, and they do a video podcast. And so they might be searching up different podcasts on the video platforms, and then they see my podcast, and then they see the description, and then go to my links, and they join Open Podcast. Great. Okay. The final benefit of making videos, is you have a potential income source. So on these video platforms, they will pay you per view, or when you have a lot of views. And so that is another income source that you can have for your content, which is great. Okay, problems. I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're gonna hear about it. Okay, competition. Like I said, there are more video creators than there are podcasts. So to start, like, there's a lot of people creating the same exact content. So there's a lot of competition between those video creators. So yeah, you have to make them really good or know the tricks. Okay, visual aspect. And I talked about this in one episode. And what I mean by this is when you're listening to a podcast, you don't have to focus on anything else with your eyes. You can do it walking around, washing the dishes, on your commute. But with videos, you have to focus on your phone or wherever you're listening or you're watching the video. So people have to like set time aside to watch your video, and that might be a while before someone gets the chance to actually watch the video. Okay, less control. On these platforms, they want to control everything that's on the platform because they have advertisers that they want to please. So if something goes wrong, they'll just take your video off. Yeah, and like for example, I was making a video and I accidentally had music in the background, and they took my video off because of that. Okay. Censorship. And this is very similar to the control aspect. If you have a popular video channel and the people know, or the video platform knows that a lot of people are watching your videos, and you say something that they don't like, they will take that video down for that reason. Yeah, that's not the same thing with the podcast. You can say whatever you want. Okay, you have to pay the troll tool. So a lot of younger people are on these video platforms, and they will make fun of your videos and say bad things about your videos if they don't like your content. So you kind of have to deal with that. But if you have more adult content, that doesn't really happen often. So there's that. Okay. Need a big audience to monetize your videos. So on the biggest video platform, you have to have 240,000 minutes watched before you can officially monetize your videos with that platform. You could have like a sponsorship, but that's a whole different thing. So yeah, that's a lot of time. I think that's 1,000 hours watched, and that's in 1 year. So if you do it in 366 days, yeah, they won't let you monetize. But it's a rolling total. So like if you have that total, like say you do it in January 1st and you reach it on next January 2nd, it's not wasted. You just have to do it you have to make it has to add up to those hours in that time. So yeah. Okay. The last problem that I have is you need to constantly be creating videos and adding content to the platforms to stay high in the ranks. So they want new channels, and if you stop creating videos, they won't have your videos in the search results very high up. People would have to really search for those videos if they want to see it. But if you have a lot of subscribers and they don't unsubscribe, then the search results don't matter. But yeah, that's the final problem that I have found. Okay, thank you for listening. If you would like to start your own podcast, but you don't want to go through the hassle of setting it up, or you just want to try hosting an episode and see what would happen, there's the Open Podcast Community Podcast. Reach out to me, and we can talk about having you host an episode. And if you want to write about podcasting, there's the Open Podcast blog. Talk to me about that, and I will get you set up on it, adding your content to it. Okay. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.